to hide that message because there are no tech issues. Ha! It's another lovely day of me streaming. Indeed it is. Alrighty. Yeah, so I figured that I'll start this lovely stream me jibber jabbering about wrestling because now that I know that somebody's going to be paying attention and potentially even talking back, I can start this stream like most streamers do, where they talk to people first and then do stuff. Maybe one day I'll have a stream where I just talk to people. But not yet. Yeah, so pro wrestling, there's stuff going on. There's pro wrestling going on. There's shows happening end of July into August. So where do I start? At the place. About the thing, As I watched Saturday night's main event earlier to catch up on it, and so it started with the women's tag title match, which was fine. It got the titles off of people's and put it on a Fatal Influence, which just seemed like kind of natural progression. Is at some point the haphazard team of Brie and Paige wouldn't hold it forever. So that seemed serviceable. Next match was Danhausen taking on JD McDonough. Entertaining match, playing off of Danhausen uncursing the Knicks because they were in New York City. They were in the Garden. They were in Madison Square Garden. Very funny, very entertaining. Also very good, very evil. Again, fun match, as expected to be. It was. Dan hasn't had to be involved once the Knicks had won the NBA Finals. They had to do something with him, obviously. And of course, JD and Dom were being complete dicks with the jersey that Danhausen got. Just good, solid heel heat. And then you had Bayley taking on Lyra Valkyria, and really early on, Bayley inadvertently busted Lyra's nose open and started to bleed, which just, I think, added to just Lyra just kind of being crazy, Just I like what they're doing with Lyra because I don't know that Lyra was like getting stale necessarily, but it was definitely a thing of she's awesome, she's good, and all of that. At a certain point, it's like, okay, but what's next? So we have this where Lyra just has kind of lost her dag-up mind. And looks like she hasn't slept in 1, 2, 3, a lot of days. And any time you have a little bit of blood in what's supposed to be, I don't want to say every match, but definitely supposed to be kind of like these two people really don't like each other. If somebody is bloodied, and especially if they're supposed to be doing kind of a little craze, a little out there, a little bit of just Lyra just having a breakdown, it adds to it because she's not only her snapping in the match makes sense. Like, oh, not only is she like mad at Bayley for what she presumes to be like her fault, she is also just like, you made me bleed. I'm going to hurt you badly now. Which if it were not WWE trying to do I guess they're still trying to do child-friendly product. If it was like AEW, then either they would have intentionally both bled, or maybe they would have on the spot be like, hey, let's make Bayley bleed too, because it's, I mean, not immediately, but like at some point, I guess, you will need Bayley probably to bleed. I feel like it would be like in a perfect world. Because, again, Lyra would be like, you made me bleed. How dare you? And Bayley just got her neck worked over. And that bulldog choke at the end was nasty. That was a nasty one. And it looked like at first, like Bailey had like maybe like spit come out of her mouth, like it was like foaming at the mouth because she was being choked out. I think that was just some gum that Bailey was probably chewing to keep her mouth not bone dry. Still a pain, still a powerful visual of like, oh my god, just look what Lyra did to her. And then Lyra did like just continued after the match and slammed her on the steps, and you have the image of Bailey just like laying broken backed over the bottom of the steel steps, and just give me a street fight, a last woman standing, and I quit match. Give us something where like the rule book is out because you just cannot get along. They ain't gonna get along, so they had to get it on, type of thing, you know. And again, if it was like AEW, they almost assuredly would be in a street fight and both be bleeding, you know, which again would make sense. And then they had the tag match at Saturday Night's main event. It was Cody and Punk teaming up against Gunther and Sami Zayn, where if Gunther and Zayn won, the one-on-one match that Cody and Punk are going to have for the world title would become a fatal four-way. And they did the interview before the match, and Punk touched upon it as like, yeah, I just tried to ask the question, like, will they get along and all that, you know? And they touched on it there perfectly of just like, we kind of have to. If we don't, then it becomes a fatal four-way. So they could do the typical thing of just them like bickering immediately, but just see both Punk and Cody just be like, yeah, you know, we're going to work together. I'm going to beat you. Yeah, I'm sure you are. You know, it was just a frenetic match, a lot of movement. Yeah. Um, and then the big story coming out of it is not only is it staying a one-on-one match, is we now had the big setup for Nick Aldis returning to the ring going up against Gunther. Because Gunther was about to win the match when Nick Aldis just yoinked the ref out of the ring. And Gunther was like, you know, how dare you, and just mouthing off, and then Aldis just clocked Gunther in the head with the title. Because Gunther had used the title a minute ago to knock out Cody, so the title was like at ringside on the floor for that reason. So Aldis just clocked him, and Aldis just had no reservations about it because you know, he'd been choked up by Gunther. You know, and of course, you know, Wade's gonna be losing his mind over it, but I think like Cole said, like, you know, he's a man, he has to stand up for himself. He has to do it. You know, you can't get choked out by Gunther and be like, ah, shucks, he choked me out. Because I don't remember how old Aldis is. I think Aldis is like late 30s, so he's still very much in wrestling age, and he's clearly in great shape too. You know, I don't know if it needs to lead to Aldis coming back full time, but just I've heard great things about him. He was NWA champion and was still doing wrestling outside of WWE before he got signed to become a manager. Um, and then yeah, but if you choke me out, I'm going to cost you the ability to get a title match at SummerSlam. And I'm also sure Zayn's also going to be like, how dare you cost me to da da da, and Aldis can probably kick his ass too if he needs to. I know that they were doing a little like, you know, like hype up the show little live thing on YouTube for SummerSlam, which the title of it kind of threw me off for a second. It's like pre-show or kickoff, whatever. It's like, it ain't the first weekend of August. But it turns out like they're just doing a little almost like press conference, hype up the show kind of thing. And apparently during that, I think it was during like, I know that Fanatics is doing some fan fest thing in New York City, which probably also is Saturday Night's main event. And Aldis and Gunther got into a fight, so now that match has officially been added to the card. So speaking of that, let me go to our prediction sheet. Aldous fights again. Aldous and Gunther. And also, I think I also may mention when I was streaming yesterday that Rhea is kind of looking through the list of matches now. Rhea has apparently she tore her meniscus, I think it was. Something in her knee got torn. And apparently it's torn in some way where it doesn't need surgery, but they're trying to rehab it and they don't know how long it's going to be. So instead of leaving us sitting around like, where's Rhea? They're just now being like, okay, we're going to crown an interim champion, and then once Rhea comes back, boom, you have a title match. Which it's definitely the way to handle champions coming back, which I think should probably be done more often. Maybe it's not like the default, but at least sometimes you should be saying like, hey, if somebody stripped of the championship, they should be given at least some heavier consideration because they never lost the title, because that's like legit, you know. That doesn't like we don't know how long Rhea's going to be out, but apparently it's like she's not going to be cleared by SummerSlam. So, sorry. Also, the fact that we are going to like just a few days, maybe like today even. Hold on a second. Sorry, this is bothering me. So I think like either I don't know if it's like today or tomorrow or yesterday or something, like a bunch of 90 days came up. And the Motor City Machine Guns were in that group. I saw the list of people, and I think besides Motor City Machine Guns, there wasn't anybody in there. I'm like, oh my god, I can't wait to see, them. It's like, we'll see what they do. Just kind of like that. It's going to be sometime in August. We're talking around All In, All Out time. That's when New Day non-compete is going to come up. So that's the one where we're all going to be like, what's going to happen? Because New Day are awesome, whatever they call themselves. Austin Creed and I think just going by Kofi. I think. I mean, it's just what we're. Cause you can't like. Mostly Machine Guns. They might. TNA being such a. I know that like a Solid Monster calls. I think a Solid Monster that said like TNA is. Yeah, he probably said that because he's reviewing the first two episodes of Dark Side of the Ring, which talked about Jeff Jarrett and TNA and all that. Which apparently all three parts. Not apparently, I'm gonna tell you, all three parts of the Jeff Jarrett and the Battle for TNA is on YouTube. If you look at the Vice TV or Vice, I think it's Vice TV YouTube channel, you can find them, which is awesome. But yeah, like Solid Monsters kind of called it where TNA has kind of just become like another developmental arm of WWE. So it is kind of a weird thing of they are and they aren't independent. It's really weird with because AEW working with all these companies, it's like AEW's not on the verge of potentially being able to like buy them at any point. It's not like TNA where a lot of people are just kind of just like watching the clock or watching the count like, okay, when's WWE going to buy TNA? And it's also not like AAA, which WWE now owns. But I think with yeah, it's weird because it is and it isn't being away from WWE. They could theoretically, but I don't know. It's just it seems like it would feel weird because there might be some people seem like, oh well, they're going to go back to WWE at some point. Then they might show up, but they also might sort of be like, no, let's like get completely away from WWE. Let's go other places. But I feel like people at TNA would be like, please come back. But I don't know. I can speak for myself. I would feel weird going back to TNA because I'd be like, it kind of feels like it's because it's still kind of like it's. I think what I'm going for, I think it feels WWE adjacent, and they may want to just get away from that, not have TKO do whatever they're doing, kind of thing. But soon as I see them show up in AEW, which I know the people that have the correct name say like because no, but I guess Sheamus recently left WWE as well, and I don't remember. I felt there was some time between New Day and Sheamus because like New Day's non-compete was to come up into next month, so we still got we're about mid-ish of July, so we're probably like still 45, 50 days into their non-compete, and Sheamus was a little more recent. People have been talking about, and people, well, we'll be spin the wheels in ROH. Who knows? I'll hope at some point ROH gets a much better formal thing. There's every few months, like, oh yeah, there's an ROH show, like, oh yeah, there's an ROH champion of some sort, which it's better than WWE buying into like throwing in the revolt and not doing anything with it, or trying to turn ROH into God knows what else, I guess. But yeah, point I'm trying to make. Before I completely lose my idea, my train of thought. They're right that not everyone can be signed by AEW. It needs to probably be more of a thing of just. I feel like pro wrestling, especially WWE, just needed this for a while, where you're not trying to sign people for 3 to 5 year contracts or anything. Because if you go look at pro wrestling, there's like AEW, TNA, and WWE, kind of like the other weekly television shows that are out there, the sitcoms, the dramas, and all that. You have your mainstays that are there all the time, but then you also have guest stars that'll star there for a few weeks or for a season, and they're gone. They're not there for forever. Um, so it might be that I know that with like AEW having weekly television, it's better to try to have emphasis be on your people that are under your employ, you have a contract with them. But I mean, it probably needs to be a thing of like, yeah, maybe like Sheamus, or probably the superstar formerly known as Sheamus, and the act formerly known as New Day probably can just like be there for a bit and then go do other stuff, and just every once in a while come back to AEW. Same with Motor City Machine Guns, where it's just maybe they sign somewhere, but or maybe like they sign with AEW, say, hey, we'll give you a lot of time, but we're also just like going to go like St. Elsewhere, and because AEW is like, yeah, cool, whatever, just be here for weekly television if we need you, or if you can't be here, fine, we'll figure something out. Or it might be again just like Sheamus and New Day just don't sign there; they just do their own thing. I know people would love to see Sheamus and Cesaro just get back up and be a great team again, or fight each other or whatever. So yeah, back to the SummerSlam card. Then we'll go over the AEW card as it stands now. So Aldis is going to fight Gunter. We have the five woman ladder match for the women's title. And then that's going to be interim champion, and then Rhea will fight whomever once she comes back. For now, I think it's Tiffany Stratton and Jade Cargill, and then I can't remember. It's Charlotte versus someone else, and one of them will get into the ladder match. I'll say right now that ladder match is probably, I have it already marked as like 1 point. It's probably going to be a 1 point match when we do our predictions for that, because you got 5 women in a ladder match. And I might get more confidence once I look and see the actual field and go, okay, who's a good match with Rhea Ripley? Because they've already done Jade, so I don't know if they'd have Jade Cargill pick up the title and then have them go at it again necessarily. Because like they've been there, they've done that. We might be able to get an indication of potentially who they were thinking of challenging Rhea at SummerSlam before her knee injury got to be too up in the air. Again, they don't have enough. Yeah, we have Stratton and Cargill. Maybe Tiffany Stratton's going to be next in line. At least Tiffany Stratton's going to be in her hometown, Minneapolis. New Star Power, Tiffany's U.S. champ, Jacy Jane. Yeah, what did they? I remember them talking about on. I guess Tiffany's not U.S. champ. Why is she in that ladder match then? Besides I guess like the New Star Power, as you said. That's although Tiffany Stratton is also from Minnesota, so it's a thing of hey, have the hometown girl on the card somewhere. Why don't you never defend the U.S. title? It's all these simple questions that they can't seem to answer well. And JC Jane probably should be there. She's not going to win it because they're going to be able to clearly not going to win it. Yeah, she should be. Of course, they also could do a thing if they've done some other times as well, where okay, we need a fifth person, so whoever the loser of each of the 4 qualifying matches, we're going to have a fatal 4-way match, and the winner of that match will be the 5th participant, kind of like a second chance thing. So Jason Jane may still be in there. But it'd be good for her to be able to try to have gold like her tag partners do. And she is on the rise. I also probably need to look at the roster. I've been very bad about trying to keep up with SmackDown. But also probably the fact that I don't hear a lot about it either A, means I'm watching too much other stuff and getting buried in my algorithm, or B, not a lot's happening. Which wouldn't be surprising. Because I think SmackDown's still doing the 3-hour thing. I think SmackDown... I don't know if SmackDown's gone back to 2 hours yet or not. It's supposed to soon, at least, if it hasn't already. So we had the ladder match. We had to wait to see the rest of the competitors. Rollins and Reigns are going to go at it. Liv Morgan, who was in Queen of the Ring tournament and lost to Io Sky, is going to be challenged by Io Sky. People are pointing out why Jeff lived that tournament, then have her lose to Io, just have Io challenge her. That's kind of silly. Granted, I don't think that Io was going to want to challenge her friend Rhea for the title, but yeah, it's not that they don't have star power, because there's people that are pointing out, like, where has Jordan Grace been? Where's Ivy Nile been? You can have other people in these things. There's plenty of star power. What are we doing? I don't know what's going on sometimes. I'm curious how much TKO is just chirping in creative's ear. Like, you gotta have this person. We gotta have this person. Sometimes. Probably more so with the celebrities, but still. Yeah. Again, we talked about that. There's a lot of women that keep not being put on television. I think again, Salamanca called out accurately that it seemed like with the women, it's just they kind of just don't know what to do because you had Stephanie Vaquer get injured, and that interrupted plans for Liv Morgan, and then Rhea Ripley is now kind of hurt and going to be having to fight for an interim championship after she comes back. So it seems like just once Vaquer and then Rhea were out, they were like, we don't know what to do. And there's so many people that you can do stuff with. There's plenty of women there. It just seemed like they just kind of locked up and didn't know what to do after a while. Punk and Road just talked about, the tag match last night that all just screwed Gunter out of. So it's just going to be Punk and Cody. That's one that I'm going to have to just see what television looks like the next few weeks and go from there. Because I don't know about giving Cody the title again, unless they're going to make him. If Cody turns heel at SummerSlam, then okay. But if not, then just give it on Punk and makes it someone different at least. Then build to somewhere and have Punk drop it. I don't know. I'd have to look at the calendar. What in the living fuck are they doing with Grace. Yeah, I have no idea. Jordan Grace is just a textbook. You would want her to be face your coming. She was Knockouts champion, I think, 3 times and a lot in TNA. It's just like we don't know who to swap in this place. We'll put in Jordan Grace. I have a feeling that if you had had Jordan Grace in the Liv Morgan spot and you had it be Grace versus Io, I wouldn't have watched it because it was in Saudi, but Jordan Grace versus Io Sky would have been a great finals for your Queen of the Ring tournament. You can do a lot with her. She can be a great champion. She can be a great ambassador to your brand. So I don't know what's going on. I legitimately do not know. And again, there's a shadow of like, is TKO somehow like chirping in their ear, or had they forced somebody in the creative team that's just going to be like, oh, I don't know about Jordan Grace. It's like, she was Knockouts champion 3 times in TNA, and she did great as the top champion. Stop being stupid, people. Then there's the 6-man tag between members of the Bloodline and LA Knight, Solo Sikoa, and Royce Keys, which I don't have a funny name for them or a good name for them. If you look at our picture, it's just like Knight slash Solo slash Keys, because I'm trying to think of a good way to combine their names, but I don't know. Everything just starts getting kind of wordy. You have like maybe like the Knight of Solo Keys. I don't know. I have no idea. I feel like that's probably going to be. I don't know. I had to think about that. Maybe LA Knight and Company win. No way, the Bloodline's not invincible, but then again, they'd like to make the Bloodline almost invincible sometimes. That are stumbling fools. And then for SummerSlam, we had, I think it was the first match that was like officially announced for SummerSlam, which is Oba versus Lesnar inside Hell in a Cell. And Oba is going to try to murder Lesnar this time. That hopefully will be a violent affair. And if there's going to be a match that they're like, we should have some blood, they should allow that Hell in a Cell match to have blood. Are they fully pulling the trigger on doing anything good with Hobbs/Keys? I don't know. I remember looking it up, or not looking it up. I remember hearing that Royce Keys is actually like kind of like I think he's in his late 30s, early 40s actually. So it's probably kind of an LA Knight situation where it's just they're up there in age and haven't had the run yet. Let's see how old Royce Keys / Powerhouse Hobbs is. Well, I think he started in 2009, so he's been at this for a while. Are we going to say... Nope, we have that he started wrestling in 2009. So you're dealing with a really long career and the age that would go with it. Again, I'd put him probably in his late 30s, early 40s. Because on his Wikipedia, I'm not seeing what year he was born. I just saw that, he was born in California, and that's all out to California. But no when. But again, another thing Solomon Mostert said is that LA Knight could probably be a great world champion. And you could look at like, well, what does age have to do with it? Like, like Rollins and Reigns and a bunch of other people keep being like their late 30s, early 40s of being champion, about the age LA Knight is. It's because like Rollins and Reigns and some others you could look to were world champions several times before they got to late 30s, early 40s. Meanwhile, LA Knight has not been world champion in WWE. And they might just be like, well, we don't know if we're going to get the most out of him or not. Which I still think you could, especially if you make him a heel, but whatever. We'll see what they do with them. I think that sometimes we do get a little impatient because, like, you and I watched him. Same with a couple of other people, like Ethan Page. We have the thing of we've seen what they can do in AEW for years. And there we were looking and just thinking, like, well, there's a possibility for them to be world champion at some point, possibly. So we get impatient, like, but we know what they can do. Meanwhile, there's people who've never watched AEW. They don't know who Royce Keys is. They don't know who Ethan Page is. So the like 3 to 5, however many years prior, exists for us, but not for them. Of course, there's people like AJ Styles that within a year he was world champion in WWE because he's AJ freaking Styles. Because he's just that freaking good. So they'll hopefully do something with him at some point. Hey, at some point they can give him like a mid card, one of the mid card belts, the US or the IC title, have him just be a dominant force. Knight been champion. LA Knight was the Impact World Champion once or twice. But I know when in one of the interviews he did with Chris Van Vliet, Chris pointed that out, and LA Knight said, like, yeah, I was world champion, but nobody was watching, so big whoop, you know? Because I was probably back when TNA/Impact was definitely in one of its much, much lower points. So it's just like, oh yeah, you're champion of a company that is having its upteenth time trying to escape death. You know, it's similar to why, like, for example, Diesel's/Kevin Nash's world title run in '94, I think it was, isn't viewed very highly because it was a really low point in the business. It's like, yeah, he was champion for a year, but business was down, so big whoop kind of thing. And it might just be a thing unless LA Knight goes like super heel. LA Knight may never be world champion in WWE. And some of it isn't, and it's not just because of age, because you look around, it's like there's just a lot of people that are worthy of being world champion. It's attitude era type thing of you had so many people being world champion because so many people were worthy of being world champion. But you have to deal with, like, okay, do you have like a long world title run or do you have a bunch of world title runs? And there's going to be people that are going to be mad either way because either, oh, somebody's world champion for too long, or oh, you're hot potatoing the title too much. And yeah, it's like if you have, you know, actually there was like Austin, Rock, Undertaker was world champion at some point. Kurt Angle was world champion at some point. Triple H was world champion at some point. You know, like Big Show and Kane were world champion at various points. Mick Foley was world champion. There's 8 people that we look at and go, yeah, yeah, they're world champion. I'm pretty sure I listed 8 Hall of Famers or future Hall of Famers as well. So it's like, hit all that talent right there. Rock's going to be world. I think Rock's going to be Hall of Famer. I think everybody's name was Hall of Famer. You know, and we have that now because you look at the roster, you're like, who should be world champion? You're like, you look at the roster we have now, who should be world champions? Like, you can make a case for LA Knight, you can make a case for Drew McIntyre, Rollins and Reigns can be world champions. You know, just Damian Priest was champion for a bit. Just Obafemi is gonna be a world champion at some point. Just Sami Zayn was world champion for a short while, but he did it. You know, CM Punk could be world champion. Gunther could be world champion. Again, you have all of these people, and you're looking like that's a lot of people. And yeah, you still have, and that's again having 2 world titles, and you still have this embarrassment of riches and this thing of you don't. If there's certain people like Obafemi, I think is going to be someone you can make a case for. Oh, at least a year, and that's not something that would be surprising. It's like it's Obafemi. He wrecks people. He wrecks fools. That makes sense for him to be champion for like a year and some change. And what might be a really good story for somebody. Let's have a Sami Zayn type. Let's have a spitballing. you have Oba win win the world title, and you have eventually Chad Gable go for it. Because if you'd had the mask versus mask match happen a few months back, you probably could have made a case for, instead of, because another match they're going to have at SummerSlam is going to be Penta versus Chad Gable, which probably could be the match of the show and the match of the weekend. I wouldn't be surprised, because Penta's really good. Gable is someone that people had comparisons to Kurt Angle for probably a lot of obvious reasons, but also it's clear that Gable's just really freaking good too if you let him be. But again, like, having a multi-year title run, maybe not multi-year, but again, like, substantially long, you know. And you have it be a thing of, let's say Oba wins world title at the upcoming Mania, which it's in Saudi Arabia, so I won't be watching. I'm just gonna say that right now, because screw Saudi Arabia. Oba wins at Mania, and then the next Mania, let's say you have Chad Gable. He wins the IC title, does great with the IC title, and says, okay, I love the IC title, but I want that world title. And he fights Oba at, it'll be Mania 44, and he falls short. It's heartbreaking. And whether it's just Gable just being determined, or like, hey, there was an asterisk or whatever, you have Gable being determined, like, no, I know I can beat you. That's what it would be. Gable would do, let's say like it's a kind of a close match, and man, maybe Gable can do it, and he misses a moonsault. And he's struggling from it, fall from grace. He made a single mistake. Heartbreaking. He could have done it if he didn't make that one mistake, and Gable swears, like, I know I can beat you. And maybe he almost gets Oba to tap a few times. Maybe like one or two times, like Oba almost taps. And Gable just knows, like, if I didn't make that mistake, he swears, I can beat you. I know. And Oba's like, no, you lost. Back of the line, Gable. I'm the ruler. You're not getting another shot anytime soon, if ever. And it builds up to it, and May could also have a thing of, finally Oba relents, like, okay, Gable, fine. But here's the thing. I'm tired of you bugging me. Maybe it's like the third time. Maybe there's like another time that Gable almost does it and loses again. And Oba's like, look, in my almost year and a half run, you keep pestering me for a title shot. I'll give you one more, but if you lose, you cannot challenge me for the title ever again. Or you can't challenge me during this run, whatever it might be. I don't know about the. Yeah, it would just be, but basically as simple as like, Oba's like, look, I'll give you one more chance. But if I beat you again, no, correction. When I beat you again, you cannot challenge me for as long as I'm champion. So that's all those stakes to it. And if you had this SummerSlam that would have been happening like in Minneapolis like it was this year, because I don't know of a better place for Gable to finally win a world title, especially if you have like a big story like, oh, he almost beat Oba and then lost, than in his hometown. It would have been amazing. But Gable, I'm presuming, might probably win the IC title at SummerSlam because it's hometown, and it'll just be a killer match, and it would free Penta up to potentially go after world titles, or may link back up with his brother, and Lucha Bros can do something in the kind of dead and barren title division. I'm joking at that. I don't know about Oba having a multi-year run. I can see a year to maybe 18 months, and then someone finally beats him somehow, some way. It's of course a big deal, like, oh my god, they beat Oba Femi. Oh, like it was in NXT where Oba rarely lost. And when he did, it was a big deal, and usually for a title on the line. And then let's take a peek at AEW Redemption. We got Omega successfully defending against Kevin Knight. It'll be a great match. It'll be a fantastic match. But the money match at All In at the end of August is Omega Osprey. Kevin Nash's going to try, he's going to fail, and we'll just see where that story goes from there. Because I know Kevin Nash wants to be Jet 2 belts, but nope, Omega's going to beat him. The women's world title, we have Tekla versus Willow, which so there's people that have said that Tekla versus Mercedes at All In's probably gonna be the better match. But I think I shared it with you. There was an article that if Willow hadn't hurt her shoulder, she was pegged to win the Owen, the women's Owen Hart tournament. So it seems like potentially that it was going to be a thing of Willow was supposed to win the title at Wembley at All In, but now they kind of have to change plans a little bit. So now Willow will have to win it at Redemption, then defend it at Wembley against Mercedes, who's something she had history with. Painmaker versus Ciampa. Jericho is going to get his win back from St. Pete when Ciampa, through Santa's eye, then attempted to drill a hole in him because Ciampa's just a psycho. International Championship, Fletcher versus Bandito. You're looking at a match of the night candidate. But I think that might lead to Fletcher to Kesha crossing paths again. Because I know that ROH is having a show soon, so maybe I don't know if you would have needed Fletcher to be a transitional champion. You probably could have just had Bandito to Kesha go at it, and that would have been a great match, and you would have had still had Bandito win the international title. World Tag titles, you have Cope and Christian defending against Death Riders. They're building to Cope and Christian versus Young Bucks to have the cross-generational battle for the titles. TBS title, Hikaru Shida is going to defend her TBS, which according to Shida means the best is Shida, against Maya World, who I don't think Maya's going to win this, but Maya's going to have another really great performance. And I still think the tack to go with Maya World is going to be Maya World challenges and defeats Athena and breaks Athena's forever run as the ROH Women's Champion. Just to be able to stick it to her mentor that's now turned her back on her. Her inspiration has turned her back on her and all that. Because Maya World just absolutely showed the hell up at the last AEW pay-per-view. She belonged there without a doubt at all in my mind. That's just one of those performances that it's textbook of like, and this is the moment where everybody understood how great she was. This is the moment where she established herself as a star. Then Mark Davis and Andrade are going to fight for the national title. Andrade might be able to eat the loss. Yeah, the how you know stuff. They're finding better ways to integrate it in versus him just saying it, which is like, why? The best one still is when Don Callis was attacking people in the back, and they go to swing to the skateboard, and suddenly sparks go off. Like, it was you. How you know? Just holding the remote. That was great. And then we now see that Andrade has MJF's Dynamite Diamond ring, and he's like, a friend of mine got it. With the Osprey? How you know? They're finding better uses for it. I like it. Um, because if he just says it's a catchphrase, it doesn't make sense. But if it's something has happened and nobody knows what happened, but we suspect it's Andrade, perfect use for it. He also seems like he'd be one to just. He seems like he is one that would be good at. I don't want to say being sneaky, but probably just like plotting a little bit. And definitely just, he has his ways to make stuff happen without having to get his hands dirty necessarily. Um, I don't think Andrade is such a. Andrade, if Mark Davis retains the title, it continues his feud against Don Callis' family. But, I mean, also you have Andrade, who is really good at the pro wrestling thing, has that title and defends it all the time. And he had prestige to the title. And it helps Andrade to get momentum against the Don Callis family. And we're going to have more matches added. This is as far as I know all of them. I think they did they make it official that Osprey and Mox are gonna fight? Who was it? Who it was? Let me check to see. Because another story that we're seeing flowing around is that, well, is Osprey going to turn to the dark side because he's with Death Riders and all of that? Which I don't know if you need him turning necessarily. Ah, that's what it is. Um, Death Riders of Mox and Osprey are going to fight the Young Bucks. That's what it is. I don't. This might just be like just momentum stuff. Uh, Sorry, I'm updating the sheet now. I'm not 100% sure who should win that match. I don't know if you would have Osprey losing a tag match when the next pay per view is all in and you need the momentum for the title match. Nor would you want Mox, who's your Continental Champion, taking a pin necessarily. Because if it was like two singles people that were fighting, that's one thing. But the Bucks aren't going to worry about the Continental title. They're going to want to worry about the tag titles. So I could see just Osprey wins the match, but there's some kind of like Osprey kind of went over the line there a little bit. Maybe the Death Riders are getting to him a little bit too much. Maybe they're making him a little too brutal. Let's see. Tekla Willow, Davis Andrade, Omega Knight, Painmaker Tommaso, Fletcher Bendito, Tactiles. Yeah, so now we have 8 matches. I guess with Redemption we only have maybe one more match that can be added. I think could I have the TNT title match? Who is TNT champion? Oh, like Kevin Knight. No, so there won't be a TNT title match necessarily. Because Kevin Knight's going to be involved. Of course, Kevin Knight might just be like, oh yeah, I can win 2 matches, whatever, and defend the TNT title at the start of the show and just show how great he is. Or, well, I feel like the end game of Kevin Knight's title run could be Speedball takes it from him. But they also might just want to save that for somebody else down the road. So, because Speedball and Kevin Knight are going to be meeting up again at some point. Because we saw the just like almost like gang warfare breakout on Collision last night, where Mike Bailey just let a bunch of people out to run off the Don Callis family. So that should be good. That should be real good. Oh yeah. Uh-huh. Did I hit up everything? He's defending against Darby is another person that would make sense actually for him to drop it too. Yeah, Kevin Knight is defending his title against Darby next week. Maybe he drops it there. You can definitely have Kevin Knight just being all up in his feelings. He doesn't have a title, and he like, well, now I'm definitely gonna beat Kenny Omega with a world title, you know. But like, I stole my TNT title back, I'm gonna get 2 belts or whatever. So maybe I don't know. Darby wins the title this Wednesday though. I feel like there's. What point did they drop it to Speedball? That's what I'm trying to think about. Because I'm trying to think about, like, I know they don't probably necessarily have, like, big 4 pay-per-views in their own mind, the way they view it, but just. The next one of the big 4 would be All In / All Out. All Out's in September. Maybe he would drop the title to Speedball at All Out. That might be long enough because I'm wanting to think about like building up to the match and just make it to where they inevitably have to clash. I guess they could also do it at All In. Yeah. Yeah, it's either Darby or Speedball. If not, then they're built. Somebody else is going to be built up because there's nobody else obvious right now. And Darby has a massive bone to pick. I feel like Darby might play a part in Speedball, not Speedball, but a part in Kevin Knight dropping the title. If he doesn't take it, he's going to at least play a role in him dropping it. I'm trying to think if All In would be too soon for Speedball. Yeah, Adam Page had said that he's going for another title, and he had said that. I remember it was a Collision 2 weeks ago where Page came back and he said, I know that it's nowhere in black and white ink that I can't challenge for the world title, but I said I'm not going to challenge for the world title ever again. So, I'm going to go for another title. It potentially could be the TNT title. I'm trying to think back to. Really, there's a really strong case for Hangman to take. You can make a strong case for Adam Page taking any of the non-world titles. Or it's more of like there's no obvious, no, it doesn't make sense. Because I feel like Adam Page would have a bone to pick with Don Callis family like everybody does. Ricochet doing what? Winning the title or just being a thorn in his side? Or Ricochet's one that I feel like deserves to have carry a title. So he was carrying the national title. Then him and Jungle Boy, him and Jack Perry fought, and then Jack Perry had the title, and then he dropped it to Mark Davis in a title that. And I need to know a little more about what exactly makes the national title so special. Because if it's not just another title floating around, if it's just another title floating around, then why do you have it? I don't know how you made the national title feel super special, but I never did make that video about talking about the AEW belts. I don't know why I didn't do it. I think I psyched myself out for some reason. that, like, I didn't know what point I was going to try to make about the titles. Because I still think that Continental title makes sense because it's very much got a gimmick to it. TNT title, you just have that defended every week. Even though Kevin Knight's not doing that. Well, he kind of is. He is. He's probably defending it more than I'm thinking about. International title could be your not quite the world title belt. At least the national title, where it's like, just like we implicitly know that it's a, I don't want to say below the TNT title. That doesn't, I don't know. It would all come into the booking of it. But yeah, there's definitely a couple of contenders for the TNT title. I don't think it'll be Darby. I feel like Kevin Knight probably needs to walk into Redemption with the TNT title. I feel like him and Mike Bailey are going to have a match. And I don't know if All In is too soon. But All Out might be the right amount of time to keep having them, like, bumping into each other, then eventually it's just one-on-one and they go at it. And I'm trying to think about what title Hangman would go for. Maybe he'd go for the national title and make that an open challenge belt. Or he could challenge Kevin Knight and do it to make either one of them an open challenge belt. Because I'm always going to be for a good open challenge belt. Because TNT title is just a network branded television title, which television titles is defended every week. So just let Hangman win one of those titles and say, okay, I'm going to defend it every week. Open challenge. Come on. Make yourself famous. That kind of thing. Other thoughts? Ospreay. Yeah, again, I mentioned, like, people are getting concerned about Ospreay being too associated with the Death Riders. That's going to be interesting to watch. Bailey, Lyra. I think that should end in some kind of, like, blood feud ending match. Probably not Hell in a Cell, since Oba and Lesnar are doing what I should be. I don't think I got the thought out about it. If there's going to be a match that's going to allow blood in, it should be that Hell in a Cell match. Just have like a bloodied Lesnar just being beaten down by Oba. Or you have Oba get a little bloody too. Or it's like, I'm just that determined to put you down because I am the ruler, motherfucker. Just do that greatness. Doesn't have to be bloodied, but yeah, I think it would benefit from at least Lesnar bleeding, because it's just that thing of just, if just Lesnar bleeds and Oba beats him, which Oba needs to beat him, Oba could then, in his myriad of awesome shit he says, he's like, I made the beast bleed. Which, that'd just be a badass thing to be able to say, is I made the beast bleed. I made him taste his own blood, for I am the ruler. So they're like, I am the ruler, I am the destroyer, I am the bringer of world, I am the mountain you cannot climb. Just probably a potential gimmick he could do in the future would be, a small thing he could add to a gimmick at some point would be, is if he's like a super heel, he just, if he has a manager or a mouthpiece of some sort, he's like, you read off my accomplishments, and reads off all the titles. Like, he's the destroyer, he's the ruler of the world, he's the mountain you cannot climb, he made the beast bleed. Just probably kind of how Paul Heyman's done for Lesnar, but I don't think Paul Heyman. I don't know. Just someone else that's not Paul Heyman. I know Heyman's not above betraying people, but just someone else. Give somebody else a chance. Again, just rattle off, just like, he was NXT champion for this long. He was national North American champion for this long. He made the beast bleed. He beat the beast in 5 minutes. He's the ruler. He's the conqueror. He's the destroyer of worlds. Because Oba Heyman can talk. I just think it'd be a cool, like, heel thing of, where Oba's like, I'm here to destroy people. I'm done talking. I'm going to pay this guy to talk for me. Or woman. Or girl. Or woman. You know. Because you can probably get a woman that's got a lot of presence to her. You know. Just got to be convincing. Yeah, that'd be awesome. Maybe you should pay me money to give them random ideas to do. Because I got better ideas sometimes than they do sometimes. Yeah, the last thing I say about wrestling is, again, like the three-part Dark Side of the Ring about Jeff Jarrett and TNA. It's all on YouTube. All three parts are on YouTube, which is amazing and it's awesome. It's definitely worth a watch because it focuses a lot more on Jarrett, and there's a lot of TNA history that doesn't get talked about. Because apparently what they wanted to do was to do a season or like a 6-part spinoff, I think. They want to do like 6 episodes, 6-part series about TNA as a whole. And apparently they got told, like, hey, just make it about Jeff Jarrett, which is still a fascinating story by itself. It absolutely is. Yes, that is amazing. And usually that's what Dark Side of the Ring does. They usually put the first episode or two out on YouTube, which is great. And there's people that can point out that Jeff Jarrett seems very just humble and, well, I think he'll own up to a mistake if he made it, but also he'll stand by it. Some decisions are like, yeah, I made the decision. You know, because, for example, people will give Jarrett guff for, oh, why are you always champion when you were in charge of booking all that? And Jarrett has a sensible response to it. He's just like, if I make myself champion, I know I'm not going to walk out on myself to WWE, which that's sensible. But I think the thing that people counter back with is, because it was like Monty Brown. I think it was, again, Saul Moss doing a review of it. He thinks Monty Brown should have won the world title at some point. And Jarrett had a response for it. I think it was like on Jarrett's own podcast. He's like, well, if Monty Brown had won the title, who would he fight? And Talmadge's response is, I don't know. That's your job to build up enough people so you can have challengers. That's your fault. Which is a true thing. Where, because Jarrett's had the idea of like the heel champion that occasionally loses it to a babyface. And that can get down to just booking philosophy of, do you want to have a babyface champion on top for forever and a day, a la WWE with Hogan and Bruno Sammartino and Cena? Or do you want to do like NWA did with Flair, where you always have the heel being on top of the babyfaces or chasing? So I can just come down just to what's your philosophy on booking. Which do you think is better, a babyface on top or a heel on top all the time? I'm trying to remember who it was. I forgot it was Monty Brown or it was someone else that was great in TNA. That I think it was Monty Brown that, like, his son got shot at some point, and at that point Brown just kind of like vanished from public life. I think it was Monty Brown. I'd have to. It's Saul Monster mentioned it in his review of the first 2 parts of the Jeff Jarrett, the battle for TNA. I think it was Monty Brown dropped off because his son got shot and killed. Which, if somebody I love got shot and killed, I'd want to just kind of be a recluse too and just disappear from public life as well. Couldn't blame him. All right. Yeah, I think I'm gonna start up. Oh, right here. Ooh, look at me, be all fancy. Satisfactory. I don't think you have to. You're supposed to. You do it properly in OBS. Here we are. Not quite sure what Monty Brown is doing right now, besides probably just trying to live his life. Because again, son got shot and killed. That's not something to get over easily. Yeah, I kind of got the bug to get back into this game. I have like 50 bajillion games I can play, but just gonna get back to this for a bit. Alright, I know the quartz is all gonna move like it's supposed to. Nice. I might want to see if I can get the... Let me see if I get that battery of oil refineries. Oh, refineries like oil plants up and running. Running like a peasant. Okay. Coal power plants, that's what I'm thinking of. I have to set up the oil production, but I need to see if I can get a lot more power up and running. Which I got the giant battery of coal power plants, because I don't have anything to use for coal right now, so... Eh. Maybe I know what I'm doing. Just need a good department. Drive a little better, apparently. That drives so good. Ooh. That seems low. We're gonna put that right there. I also probably need to be heard. Lest me talking is pointless. Let me drop off. And all stuff that can be turned into other things that are bio. Wood. Mycelia. There we go. While we're here, let's grab another second biofuel. Solid biofuel. Just in case I need it. Just in case. It's something about the Explorer that just doesn't seem to... I don't remember it getting around quite that badly before. Maybe they modified something in the traction, or maybe I have to change a setting or something. I don't know. That's why they modified something there. I was just being impatient. Okay, before I go try to set up those coal power plants, let me actually go to my central storage and... Well, I drive better in real life. I'm not driving at Mach however fast I'm driving. I'm following traffic laws and all that. So, I think the thing I need to think about is that I'm going to need to make those platforms. So let's make those. We'll also concrete. I need reinforced iron plates while I'm here. Then got like cable, sheets, quartz, concrete. Here we are. Not a lot of concrete over here. I know what it is. I don't have concrete transporting over here at the moment. That's what it is. That's another thing I need to think about that then. Because the way I have it going right now is I'd have all the concrete stored near the concrete factory. And I never have set up an alternate. Why is it so slidey? I absolutely do not understand it. I have it all stored right here, which is... I guess I need to set up another truck station here and just see about transporting concrete over there. Of course, I'm also, again, I'm thinking about the fact that I'm dumping quartz and... I'm concerned about that one truck station starting to get log jammed with too much stuff. This is the problem I run into. It's just I think about one problem, and then I think about another problem, I think about another problem, another. And it gets kind of out of hand. By kind of, I mean really out of hand. And now I got a problem. I've got this truck route running through here. Then concrete's and it stacks in 500s. So how much does awesome sink? Awesome sink takes up 30. Then truck station takes 20. So actually, it would reduce my power by a little bit if I replaced this with a truck station, but then I'd have to slightly tweak this, which that wouldn't be the end of the world. What part of it is going there? I know this is all riveting to watch, but just I can see the wheels spinning in my head trying to figure out everything. Because I'm going to need concrete to build those platforms over where I'm going to be building the water extractors and the coal power plants. Again, it'd be good just to see if I can get the concrete to finally move over to the central storage. This is probably a bigger project than I really need to worry about right now. So that's one that I was... The path of that tractor we just saw is one that I drew with the old way, where I drive the route and then record it, and it just plops down the nose to have it hopefully follow it well. Consider at least redrawing those routes to be absolutely sure that they're as good as can be. Get up and go, that's for sure. Let's see how far we get with this cooler power plant. So what I'm also going to have to do is I'm going to have to probably have to do the power lines out there just so that once it's done I can transport power back, but also I need power to get it going at first as well. This is not the way. Also, there's a sulfur deposit out here somewhere. I think that's something else I was thinking about. Yeah, there's multiple uses for coal and sulfur. Ooh, interesting. Give me things that aren't using reanimated SAM. Try to make turbo fuel. You know, sulfur doesn't put so much you can do with it. You can do a lot with coal and sulfur. It's definitely something else that I have to think about. Also, we have iron deposits here, it looks like. I don't know what I'd use them for. So I've got the miners down. The other thing that kind of has a bit of a brain screw is I gotta try to also think about placement of everything. I did not grab rotors while I was there. I got sidetracked by that's why I didn't have all my concrete. Oops. saw the other coal power plant where you have to be thinking about things overlapping in different spots. Also, I have to think about the fact that I also have to count how much coal is there, and I have to think about how much coal can go in different places. My lord. Because if I have it, it's not going to matter that I can mine all that coal. If I can't move it all effectively, then it won't matter. Won't matter theoretically how many power plants I could run. I won't be able to get enough coal to everything. So, especially if you're going to brokers, then I'm going to have to sit down and mathematics out some more calculations having bio stuff, since I have still relying on solid biofuel. Be good to have those keep being all revved up and ready to go. Rotors, yellow paper sheets, spiders, motors, coal, silica, modular rotors. A little bit and just scan these. So if that gives me 120, or do they give me 90? So 120, 360. Okay. So where we get that? Because each one is going to take 24. Okay, so 360. Built. Yeah, I just have a lot of encased industrial beams for that much coal, but that much coal I can have. So I also am going to need to make sure that each one of them also has enough water. That said, there's I need for 12 of those. Thinking. Alright, you can do 120. I'm trying to think about if there's ways I can. Where the coal would come down, I could probably just mirror and see the coal. Just maybe out here, and then have it splits, do the splits, and then start feeding the coal generators this way. Now I'm gonna get the water. Because what I could certainly do is a crazy idea would be coal plant, water pipe runs in the middle and feeds those for each of those. I could probably just connect all the pipes together at a certain point too, that way it's just always plenty of water going everywhere. I'm trying to think about how to place all of these. Hold on, what am I needing? Copper. I might need to get a lot more copper plating, actually. Or copper sheeting, because apparently something already requires a bunch of it. Yeah, that requires copper sheeting, so I'm probably getting enough copper sheeting to make the extractors, but not the pumps. So I'll have to go. I will need to go back and get that at some point, too. Oh, that's a good stretch. Okay. Wait a stretch. I've used there. Yeah, I really could very much try to cheat at a certain point. And try to put the pipes underneath. Which would probably be. Yeah, that'd probably end up being a bit of a nightmare because I'd need to build extra platforming so I could actually have my build gun out. Perfect world is what I would do. Of course, I could probably also just build up even higher to do that. Trying to think about where I want to put everything. Yeah, I don't want to destroy that, so. you. This is not Helldivers for the map. I'm being indecisive and not doing the key thing of just build it and go from there. I could. Pipes goes there. Let me just start placing these coal power plants. It's not gonna look probably the prettiest, but whatever. It needs to be done because I need more power wool. Fears about. Fuel just got concerned. Any places I don't go deal with that tractor. Tractor it is that ran out of fuel. This tractor ran out, and do I need to be more concerned? That's gonna happen again. probably the quartz tractor had an issue. So much stuff, that is. That is an oh boy, oh boy, oh boy kind of thing. Yeah, so I guess the quartz tractor. Yep, this one ran out. Probably for a reason it couldn't. Fuel it needed. Over here and see if I can help sort it out at least a little bit. Might need to see if I can come up with a second truck station. Don't know what to do with it yet, but I need to figure it out apparently. Because it's a problem. Just dump quartz crystals in there. That should free up a lot. So it might have... The quartz factor might not be backlogged anymore. So this might have... Another backlog finally. Finally got it all out. Nice. Just dump in all the silicon. There we go. Yep, I got a big stockpile of a lot of things. Off. Okay, good. Gonna do that. That was gonna prioritize getting the coal to where it needs to go. I'd probably rebuild this. What I potentially would think about doing is seeing if I could have some spot where I could like stockpile more coal outside and have it just try to feed through the systems. As well here, let me also just... I swore I named these stations before I named another file. sure that everything's got full on coal. I'm gonna need a heck of a lot more copper sheeting. Make that coal, the new battery of coal power plants work. Someone also may need to just start generating lots of fuel and see if I can help alleviate my problems as well. But first I need to make sure I've got enough power for everything. It's going to be a big project. Exploded. He still has a coal sitting up higher, but then it'll have to... That'll do that. Trying to make sure that I'm imagining where everything's got to go in the future. Oh, definitely scooch you some. There we go. You do that, you do that. Prototype this out as much as I can. Okay, then. Okay, I think I've got this. I think this will work. that too much more. Let's see about putting that there. Let's put a dupe right here. Yeah, got still plenty of walkways. I need to walk around it for maintenance purposes. Okay. And we will. Direly need to be able to nudge at some point. I don't know that puppy 100%, but okay, so the idea will be that this you require 4590, you produce 120, so every once in a while the water pumps will just, I could probably also underclock this to just make enough water, that way it's not going, I can keep a steady power line instead of occasionally it drops off and spikes up and up and up and down up and down, because that can be hard to determine if you need more power or not, because you just every once in a while just have it not running. Meanwhile, if everything's running consistently, then you're in far better shape. Okay, and then I'll try to think about if I need to think about walk, but if I would like walk down here to try to deal with stuff. Because something that looks nice is to put a stackable pole over the pipelines. But then the way usually that's I've had to build them. It's usually like build the stackable conveyor pole and then run the pipe through it. It might clip a little technically, but yeah, I can worry about make it work and then make it look pretty. I need to remember that. I need to make it work first, then I can worry about like, oh, make it look so pretty. It's gonna look pretty, but don't work at all. So. Looking, seeing if there's anything blaring, like red alert, something wrong. No, okay, I still need to go through it. I still need to go through the name of all those truck stations again, apparently. Apparently it's again. And then when I'm placing these, they're actually going to be mirrored. So in the deep, deep water. Okay, so I should have... Hope there's not a random, like, sandbar somewhere. The water extractor there. Then we would pipe like that. That would be an interesting idea to try. Okay, let's do it. Yeah, then let's just come down to build out this far anyway, then I'll make half things where I need to. Have you ever heard of the game Supermarket Chaos? Game. I think I've heard of it. Is it one that I think it sounds like it's one that either people discovered recently or like came out recently? I think I've heard of it. Certainly could be interesting. It would also be surprising if we do see a small spat of games that are like that because it's a great idea for a game. It really is. Because like there's definitely a bunch, and I think even now we're still having a bunch of automation games that are like this, and where Satisfactory is probably the best one of them all because it just does it really well. Of course, you want to do something. Of course, this is like a peaceful, like 99.9% of the time, peaceful experience, automation experience, where wildlife can attack you if you so desire for them to, but like Factorio is like base defense, which Coffee Stain Studios, who made this, says we're not interested in doing a base defense. We're interested in just the automation thing, which is nice. Not everything needs to be a combat game. Sometimes it's good to just chill. That would be needed for conveyor belts here. Because I need to put, well, depending upon so I can just have like just like the one Mark IV conveyor belt running through. That's going to require a lot of concrete encased industrial beams, which I don't know how fast that one factory is going to be making them. So that might take a while, but it'll be worth it. And something else I could always do is just as I get enough encased industrial beams to make conveyor belts, I just get more and more of these plants online. I just get as many as I can online at first, and then I just go from there. It's also going to require me to be concerned about it should. Let's do a test. So we will simulate. And I don't have any coal on me, mother of hell. But I can get around that too, for I am a smart individual. Well, I say a smart cookie. Just need a piece of coal to feed through this belt system to make sure it actually does get there. Because something I know that they've messed with over the years is because this is a great access of how early access can work. This game was out for years before it officially launched at 1.0. It does work, yes. So people were having to find like jerry-rigged ways to make things happen, and then the devs were like, that is a good idea. Let's fix that for you. Like, let's add that feature. Getting Supermarket Chaos on Steam, only $5. Maybe I'll think about it. I'll definitely think about it. I need to nuke pipes for the time being, because I need to make sure I can place my splitters in the proper place. Then I would need to do that. Okay. I think this will work. I'm gonna be very sad if it don't, 'cause I will blow all the chunks, which would be messy, you. 'Cause you don't want chunks everywhere, and that's you, Brody. Something else I'll say is that if it's like $5 game, me and Byron have said half jokingly, half serious, like, well, yeah, it's only $5. I mean, it's like, it's only $5, you know. It's more like, oh, it's like, that's free 99 at that point almost. Of course, that can go from a position of I have job, I don't have job, and now it's not the biggest expense in the world, and I know I just dropped $350 on a new graphics card. Also, think I do still need to be probably a little mindful that I don't get too overzealous with stuff. Of course, it's $5. If $5 wrecks my, as I've always said, if $5 wrecks my budget, then I've done screwed up. I'm gonna have bigger problems if at some point I don't have the money. But again, I'll think about it. That sounds like our key takeaway from this is I'll think about it. Alright, now I need to think about the pipes. The pipes are calling. Oh. Actually, is I'm not going to necessarily have too many pipes in theory colliding with each other. Because I'm not going to have them running very long. I'm going to have them coming in from points. Maybe for a second, just have everything look all nice and pretty. Well, Functionless-ish. Oh, I need to see if I can build a walkway over. I'll probably need to see if I need to think about some kind of maybe walkway over all this, or I just build it as is and go like, well, if I gotta dig in there, I'll just jump around until I get there. So I have to do that, but a couple more times over. Already I'm under the amount of copper sheets I would need. I will drive back to base. One, make sure that the truck stops up. So that the main depot stops up getting log jammed. That's for one. For two. Grabbing some more outside. Same. Ran out of fuel again. I might need to hold off on the quartz route until I can provide it fuel that might last a bit longer, or I just find a different way to. Yeah, I got to figure something out. I like using coal as the fuel for this, because if it's biofuel, even solid biofuel, I have to go and babysit it a lot. Yeah, I've got a problem. Yeah, I need to rethink all of this, because I have a lot of stuff coming in, so a lot of these stacks are just huge. I might need to rethink how I've got to rethink how this station works. I might need to actually divide it into several, potentially. She's gonna need more pipes. Pipes. It's just a temporary fix. I really need to... I need to prevent this from happening in the first place. I need to figure this out. Yeah, there's just too much stuff going through here. I dropped off all those pipes and there's no coal in it either. I also dropped off coal, which is... No, you just dropped off steel pipes. That gives me a bad feeling about a log jam somewhere, possibly. Just lugging around steel pipes. Let me guess, I go over here, we're gonna find that... Yeah, we got steel pipes and another... Yeah, man. Okay, yeah, I need to... Multiple wheels running out of fuel, okay. Okay, it's got two outputs. That could certainly help alleviate that a lot if I could have double them coming out. I have to refigure all of this out. That's a splitter that's going to turn into an output. That's not. There's just too much of everything, is the problem. It's not too much pipes, it's too much of everything. Because that truck with the pipes, for example, what it's supposed to do is grab the pipes from over there, drop them off at that factory to make the stators that helps to make the motors, and then I drop off the pipes over there just to pick up the engines and the motors, drop them off here, and then drive over there, pick up more pipe, and then continue the process. But if this is too full to drop off anything, then it's not being emptied when it's supposed to be empty of motors, and then it dumps the motors, it picks up pipes, dumps up the pipes and the motors at that one stator factory, and we saw that one factory even yesterday get log jammed because there's now motors jamming up the lines. So it doesn't drop off all the, eventually it drops off, it just picks up pipes and drops them off at that station. That one stator factory is not making any stators, so it backs up on pipes, so the truck can't drop off the pipes, so it comes back and drops the pipes off, and because this has gotten jammed with too much stuff as well, It's just one thing goes wrong and it's dominoing out to just logjam everything. And also just some of these piles are massive. Some of these stacks are just huge. So I need to. Just a massive logjam. I need this dumping out. Okay, what do I need this to do? I need to be this stuff as I think. What I need to take advantage of is this can dump out 2 outputs. Okay. And those outputs, I'm not going to know what they are. It's just going to be probably like either what's in the top stack and they just split that top stack, or it's just going to be one takes one stack, one takes the next stack. So it's like what I've been doing here is it spits out whatever is there into this smart splitter. So immediately it's spitting out. It's like, okay, so the left output here is steel pipes. I think that's what it is, or is it somewhere else? No, left output's on the other side. Up here. So what it's doing is saying, okay, steel pipes need to go here, then it goes into this smart splitter. What this smart splitter is doing is saying primarily steel pipes are going to go that way. When there's an overflow of steel pipes, start going this way into this merger. Another output for this smart splitter is, okay, off, I think it's off to the right, is, okay, dump all the coal, because coal is what I'm using to fuel my trucks, my tractors. So the coal goes down here, and then it's going to do a smart split of, okay, I want you to go stop playing on that belt. I can stand still for a second. So it's coming in and saying, okay, spit out coal to the right, spit out coal ahead. Any extra coal is going to go to the left and be stored into the storage. So this is where these mergers are coming into place. Because again, these are the excess pipes. They get thrown into this merger. The coal goes into this merger. And in that one smart splitter, anything that's not coal or steel pipes just goes straight ahead, and then everything just gets dumped in that way. Okay, so I got that. The steel pipes and the coal, as long as they're not like buried in stacks of other stuff, that's going well where it needs to go. We've got a nice, amount of steel pipes going where it needs to go. Coal's going usually where it needs to go. The problem, so it's not splitting the coal and the steel out. The problem is becoming, this has too much stuff in it. I'm only relying on one output. I need to use both of these outputs. And it means I'm going to have to tear up this entire system that I have for merging and splitting and come up with it all over again. Now, something that would help if I had programmable splitters, because then I could have these things handle multiple outputs. So I need to figure out gonna get the programmable splitters anytime soon. Probably not. Probably gonna be in an even later phase. Jetpack. Need to make plastic. Okay, so I need to figure out that system so that I can still Need to figure this thing out so that I can have both of these outputs spitting stuff out. So I can at least, hopefully, if I'm not careful, even if I have both of these getting stuff out as fast as possible, I'm still potentially going to have an issue of... I think right now I have... Yeah, it's a level 4 conveyor belt, which is taking out 400 and... It's like 480 a minute. Which, if this thing had a few minutes to do stuff, that'd be one thing, but I think I'm having too many trucks coming in too quickly. And again, 480 a minute is still getting through one of these 500 stacks in over a minute, which this is where we're getting log jammed real bad. You can clear out a couple of these stacks real quick and clear this out real quick, which we'll just do that just because. Get out of the way. So, do we drop another one? So the problem I'm trying to alleviate now is if I have this go and just pull out, at that point, it would, I think at that point you'd be talking about each one taking out 480, you'd be talking about it taking out, let's just call it 1,000, round up to 500, like 900, 960 a minute if I have two of those Mark IV belts doing it. Well, if I try to merge those back together, I'm going to have a problem of those 480s are going to slow down because each of those 480s is going to be bottlenecked by the output 480. So, like this, it's probably problems. This truck station is actually a little too close. I don't have enough room to make what I need to make. So I have to stop all the trucks. I want to redo all the routes anyway, I guess. But if I had a tablet and could draw, this would be a fun thing to do right now. But okay, so. If this will behave like I want, window capture, I want to do I don't want window capture. Alright. Gonna pause that so I can think a little bit. I have the two outputs. Just put it down so I can think about it. Remove 960. What I need to do is essentially just duplicate what I've done. I need two lines doing all the merging and splitting that I've been doing. I just don't know where I have the room for it. Yeah. Math and problem solving and all of that, which math is problem solving as well. So, I have to have two lines doing that. And the problem is just I've got... Part of this problem would be alleviated if I had a programmable splitter where I could say, hey, I want you to put... It's just if I tell like, hey, put coal and put steel pipes out this one output, that would alleviate it, because what I could do is say, okay, just instead of having to like split out the steel pipe and then put it up here and all that, I can just say, all right, just this line down here that's doing coal and steel, have a smart splitter here, and say, okay, coal and yeah, because then I can have like, you know, the I probably still have a problem somewhere else. I might still have to like figure it out, but it's like I could just have like maybe like that could still split out the coal. So I have one there that's for steel, for the steel pipes, and then the upper line could be duplicating some of that. And if I had programmable splitters, if I had the ability to put out 2 outputs per thing, I like the mammons. See. I wonder if that programmable splitter is there. No, there's programmable splitter. Okay, so maybe it's not in there. Nice. I mean, I definitely have the AI limiters for that. But I don't think I can make those other 2 parts yet. Yeah, there's computer and heavy modular frame. I need to get this done, which requires me to make motors and yeah, I've got on it's an upgrade that I crafted somewhat called Blade Runners, where they let you run faster, jump faster, and not take as much fall damage. It's very nice. Alright, so I'm trying to figure out what I can do that doesn't require me to completely tear down and rebuild all of this, but I might have to just do a bit of a tear down and rebuild. That or I need to see if I can work hard to just unlock the programmable splitter next. I think. I have a feeling what it would be is I would need industry manufacturing. Manufacturers take in up to 4 inputs. Computers and heavy modular frames. I can't look up what that would do, what I would require yet. is I need to determine what I'm going to do. I probably need to just focus on the coal power plants I've been making. Just get that done and let this mess just be a mess. I'm going to have to sift through it no matter what I do. So I do that. I probably just really need that programmable splitter to make this easier on myself. And I'm also going to just have to redo my central storage, because right now what I've been doing is I have that go up there and then feed around and all that. But what I can also do, which again would require me to tear stuff up, is have another smart splitter I could probably do. Potentially. Sorry, brain fart. So once I do have those two lines now trying to handle everything out of there, I would need to have conveyor belt low and conveyor belt high to put stuff where it needs to go. And then so I'd have to have it also handle excess and overrun and all that. So that should be a big project. And hence why I was not playing this for a bit, because you can just burn yourself out if you're not careful. I'm going to step away at least for a minute in order to feed Olive, then I guess I'll just see if I can get back to making the thing, the coal power plants, and then I'll need to determine what I'm going to do from there. I feel like I really do desperately need to figure out the central storage thing, but I also probably, again, need smart splitters, which that could probably, I don't know what all I need for the parts to make those, and then it'd probably be like I set up a temporary thing to make what I need for the smart splitters. And then again, trying to think like so far ahead and all that. Three. You're not gonna. I'm just not checking how much stuff I got. Got odds and ends. Let's just picked up stuff and then. Hey, there's more coal. I'm gonna come back to coal. Hey. There's just packaged fuel, and then there's a bunch of other stuff. Okay, I'm gonna step away for a minute to feed Olive. And then I'll come back and I guess I'll just finish, see if I can finish making those coal power plants, and then I guess we'll see where we're at. Be right back. Yeah, that's definitely the problem with that one factory being jammed, is that it keeps throwing pipes back in here. That's the problem. That probably is the biggest thing that's triggering it, is that just it's having to re-sift through all those pipes all over again. That coal power plant area, and then I need to figure out what to do with that, which might be up to and including just building. Rebuilding all of that somehow for central storage, which I hadn't thought about. If I'm going to do all that, the scope of that could easily just turn into just to start a new file, which I don't want to do, but maybe that could be fun. Try to build stuff a little bit better, a little more efficiently, which is part of the fun of this game, is you start a new file, you're like, well, I got better ideas about it, build it even better. Let's see if I can at least get all of my coal power generators, my water extractors built. May not get them all hooked up today, but at least get them built. Do that, I guess. Okay. I can take this pipe and put it here. Not enough. Production. I need to build this water extractor again to actually be where I want it and need it to be. Could try to land right there, I guess. Try to save this little bit of space. Very much more compacted. But whatever, man. Whatever, man. So much I'm annoyed by that problem with the main storage. It is fun to have a challenge to try to figure out. So let me get the T-junction set up. There. I will want to place my splitters first. Let's place ourselves a water extractor. the other one? Do I had it before? I don't recognize. You are here. And don't have any more of these. I don't use this water extractor, so I need to do this a few more times. Snapped in. Even with this, I'm still gonna be just a hair paranoid that it's might look like I need to or want to, but we'll deal with that when we deal with that, right? Right. Try not to fall into the water. These extractors are going to be lined up with each other, but whatever. Let me just... Maze of a massive collection of pipes. Future conveyor belts. Might as well get that done. I'm not going to keep doing this. I'll just keep doing what I need to add to it. I was hearing something. That's the plan. Once I get this up and running, it'll be powering up everything. Splitter position. I do not like how you didn't place like you're supposed to. That may work, but that's not the point. The point. I want y'all to be consistent. Definitely picking up just a little bit of steam now that I've done this a few times now. Extractor while we're here. It's also going to put in LED power poles probably as well. Maybe I'll do that today, maybe I won't. Because I am gonna have to get some kind of jump start in order to start the water pumps. That way, I can give everything a jump start. That way, everything can run long enough for the cold to start taking over. Start with the water. I also need to get the coal. Do this 3 more times, then I've built everything. if we can figure this out. Something's going on with the capture card, clearly. I'm not liking the look of this. It's acting like it doesn't even recognize the... There we are. Just needed a digital equivalent of unplug it and plug it back in. Cool. Alright. Back in business. I don't know why I did that. I'll probably never know. Yeah, but I'll do it. Are you lined up? You are. Check. There we go. And we need one more to line up with that. You and you and you. Right. Get all y'all connected. Now let's put in our water pipes. Starts with trying to remember which way all this is going. It's a UT junction like that. Then you'll be a T junction. Make sure everything lined up. Turn straight. Click, click. There, we will go down here. Now jump into the water, because that'd be bad. How to go there? Let's get our extractor. Yeah, I don't think all these extractors are going to be in line with each other. It's just, I can't nudge the hologram for these, so it's got to be good enough. I'm not going to be looking at it after a while, so that water extractor is hooked up. I gave it the hook up. And then there's a holler if it hears me. I know with the watery ocean, it's not a watery ocean, you might have a problem. Especially since this something that requires water. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. I think it's like super matter that I keep that one counter I just changed correct, but it also doesn't matter to make sure that I keep track of how much materials I need. Copper sheets. I should have plenty of copper sheets now. There should be plenty now. Good. Okay, that. Try to not care, but also need to be concerned. Yeah, that's... Yeah, this one's actually out of alignment, so I actually do need to tear apart all this and get that. Coal power generator actually lined up. That way I don't have it doing anything weird with the conveyor belts. All those are actually off. So let's... More. I also might need to make some more concrete platforms, possibly, or maybe be able to shave off one. Who knows? What is that to see? Line up there. Okay, that's good right there. Okay. We'll just plop these all down side by side, but I need to be absolutely sure that I'm nailing every last part of this. Nothing's out of alignment, it's not supposed to be. There, so I'm going to keep doing these in pairs of faux. We're doing pairs of faux this far. Why stop now? Go. Try this one right this time. Should be in line like that. Good, you need something to tear your brain out. This game will do it. My lord. I've been playing for 2 hours. I feel like I've been playing for a while for sure. I would be saying a lot more right now, but again, I've kind of sort of fried my brain with trying to figure out all the problems that were going on, especially with the central storage. I'll figure it out. Maybe I'll randomly play this offline so I can at least come up with a plan. One more time. Then I'll, in theory, be able to exploit all the coal in this area for power. Yeah, 75. Still a lot of power to add. Should be more than enough for a while. What do I? That might be actually might be just enough platform for everything that over there where the piping is going to go to feed those two things that are water. Oh wow, that how that happened. Also, that's probably gonna add a lot of platforms to mess around with. That's what I was saying. I didn't look. But that didn't go. Where? It's doing it now. A little off, but I'm not going to worry about it. Also, it looks just like absolutely god awful. detail I'm not even going to see ever again. Next time I see it might be if I ever tear this all apart. Which I doubt I'll do. I can always use more power. Okay, it's all built. Next thing I'm going to need to do is hook up all of this power poles. I do not have the resources for that. I'm going to have to go back to the main base to get everything I need for that. So. Before I go back there, I wonder if I can... So in order to get all the coal I need over here, I need the Mark IV belt. But I'm not going to need the Mark IV belt throughout the entirety of this. There's going to be a certain point where I only need a Mark III, then a Mark II, then just a Mark I belt, because there's going to be that little coal moving. And I was talking about load balancing versus manifolds. This is a giant example of a manifold, where I could expand it out infinitely, theoretically. But the problem is going to be, the downside is, like, these at the end are going to be getting their coal closer to the end of everything, so... Here we have 30. Then this one will be carrying 60. What do I need here? I'm bringing 60 into here, so I only need that. This is 210. Here we go. 40. 270. 60, 90, 120, 150, 180, 2100, 210. I keep counting, I keep losing count. 30, 60, 90, 120. I'm paranoid. I have no encased industrial beams. Interesting. Okay. At least right up to this point. 270, 240, 21, 18, 15, 12, 9, 6, 3. Yeah, okay, so the Mark 1 through 3 belts that I need have been placed. That is the excellentiness. I'm going to need... I need to place a bunch of power lines and power poles. And not just run running power like to, from, and hopefully be enough to start getting everything up and running. I might need to tell a bunch of things temporarily shut down so I can know I have the power to get the miners and the water extractors up and running. I don't know if I shut down that much of it, but we'll see. There's also going to be a certain point where the coal power lines over there will produce so much power that it can power itself and then a lot more. This is kind of frying my brain. Ride this one over to where it's producing all the steel stuff. I'm going to just tell all to shut down. That way because I'm just getting perpetually more and more and more and more steel pipes in there. That's just not what I need. Yeah, as I like to say a lot of the time, it's just mathematics, especially, is something where if you give it to someone in a context that they will enjoy. So again, that's my friend Chris, for example, loves playing card games. He could do, calculate, the damage and the life point deduction and all that, no problem, because that's an application of math that he actually enjoys. Something like this can be fun, and again, you see like, okay, well, it can produce this much, and it can carry this many, and I split like this, and again, it's applying it. That's the biggest problem with mathematics, I think. It's just, too often, it's just, here's all this theory, and it can be a great big old, I don't care. It's just a great big old, who cares, because you never get the answer to the question of when am I going to use this. unknown redundancy I put in somewhere. Somewhere over the rainbow. No, I know where I'd have to cut it as I wanted to. I'll try to do that. I mean, there's probably going to be at least some mathematics in a city builder because you're going to think about cost. And okay, I want to build, 5 of this, and it's like, okay, well, if I make the tax this percent, they can increase all this, and you have to find some mathematics in a city builder for sure. Let me shut that off. Okay, now I can start making some steel pipes. Well, yeah, I'd say all city builders probably do, because anytime you're building stuff, really, is because you're going to have to think about, like, okay, well, I need to have this many of everything. If I want to make, 7 of them, and, okay, well, if I have this bonus, then it'll increase by that much, and, there. Without fuel. Okay, I probably need to put priority on just getting that new set of coal generated up and running for next time. And then I need to figure out I might know what I can do. I think I might know a way to I'm not going to do it right now because it's going to require me tearing up some stuff, but I think I know what I can do. What I can do back here is, instead of splitting off the steel pipes right here and trying to do all that right then and there, instead of trying to have something go directly over here, I can say, okay, start going this way. And the first splitter is here. It's like, okay, if you're coal, go here. Then keep going. Have a splitter. Here, like, okay. Oh, no, wait, will that work? Because I still would need... So the thing I'm trying to do is just like, the first thing I'm splitting out, okay, I'm splitting out coal, and maybe I can just have this splitter, okay, that splitter's, okay, that's coal, that's coal. And then... So, okay, have it all split. Okay, steel pipes go there, they go there, and then also, like, if it's not steel pipes, just keep going, and then just merge half the steel pipes back. Yeah, that's what I can do. Okay. Games I've played in life that have bare minimum degree of math. Probably quite a few have some degree of math to them. Again, real-time strategy games would have it because I have to think about like, okay, I need to, if I want to make this many units, I need to worry, I need to have this much currency on hand, and I'm always going to be kind of like, okay, I want like, for Total War, for example, I'm like, okay, I want like a unit of infantry, then a unit of, well, I want like 2 infantry for every archery unit, something like that. I've played several city builders, I've played some automation games like this. There's probably more than that. I mean, you can also argue that there's math where you're trying to count out even like shooting games of like, okay, well, I know I'm going to want, 3 grenades for this section, and if you're doing GTA, like, okay, well, I know that on average I'm going to get this much money, this much RP per mission, so I'm going to have to do at least a certain number. I can make games have a lot more mathematics in them if I really want to. Again, GTA Online, there's no reason to have mathematics in it, but I put in that mathematics in it because I need to know what I need to do every day to be able to get enough RP every day in order to get to my level 1000. Streaming a city builder on stream. I thought about streaming this, which isn't a city builder per se, but it's a similar vein. But maybe I will at some point. So what else I'm trying to think about. I feel like again, those steel pipes are still just like cycling back and forth. But yeah, I probably could at some point. Also, they're just streaming like, one of the Total War games as well. I mean, like Rome 2 or Empire Total War. If I just need like a whole bunch of streams, I can definitely just get a lot of streams out of Total War. Because this, you can see, for example, can take me forever and a day to get anywhere. And this is me being deep in the game, and this is a save file with a lot in it. 120 something hours in it, so you can get heck of a lot of streams out of it. But it's in Red Dead Redemption 2, which I want to see if I can get back to having it be Red Dead Thursdays again now that I got a controller. I just kind of got hooked with this. Yeah, I think I will end stream here, though. My brain's kind of fried. And I also need to eat dinner. So, should be. Let me look at the calendar. I think I've got one more week of regular streaming. No, this upcoming weekend is Redemption for AEW. So a week from now on Sunday, that's going to be Redemption, so I won't be streaming then. And then the following week, I won't stream that weekend because that'll be SummerSlam. So yeah, I guess I'll stream like for 3 days, and then yeah. So I'm jibber jabbering. Yeah. So all right, yeah. Thank you for watching. Thank you for hanging out. I will stream again on Thursday. That should be Red Dead Redemption 2, unless I like really want to do this again. It'll be Thursday unless I really want to stream this again, which I don't know if I will or not. We'll see. But for now, it's like Thursday, Red Dead Redemption 2. Yeah. All right, I'll see you then. Have a lovely evening, and maybe I'll talk to you later tonight. We'll see.